What would you do if someone handed you a letter and told you it must be burned, unread, because the truth inside could ruin lives? Would you obey? Or would you open it, knowing you might never see the world the same way again? They told me to destroy it, not to read a single word. They said it was too dangerous, too painful, too real, that the story locked in that envelope should remain buried forever. But I didn't listen, and once I saw what was inside, I knew why they wanted it gone. This is not just a story. This is a confession hidden in plain sight, a secret that was supposed to disappear in ashes. What you're about to hear has never been spoken aloud, never been admitted, never been faced, until now. I'm not telling this for drama. I'm telling this because there are truths out there that people bury, deep, stories that, if told, could change everything you thought you knew about someone, or worse, about yourself. This letter was written by someone who had nothing left to lose. The words are raw, unfiltered, filled with pain, regret, guilt, and a kind of honesty that most people never dare to voice. This isn't fiction. It's a reflection of what happens when silence is louder than screams, and when the truth comes too late. You see, most people live their entire lives pretending they're okay, pretending they don't have anything left unsaid, pretending there isn't a shadow following them every day. But deep down, they know, you know, that there's something you never said, something you wish you could go back and fix. And this letter, it's exactly that, a second chance that came too late. Right now, someone is watching this video who's been holding on to a secret for years, someone who lost a loved one without ever saying goodbye, someone who carries the weight of a letter that was never written, or worse, never read. And maybe, just maybe, this story is the permission they've been waiting for, to feel, to speak, to forgive, or to finally break. So here's what I promise you. By the end of this video, I'll reveal what was written inside that letter, the truth they never wanted seen. And I'll show you why those words weren't just ink on paper. They were a lifeline, a scream from the past, and a warning for the future. But before we get there, I need you to stay with me. I need you to feel this. Because this isn't just about what happened to me. It's about what's been happening inside you. If you've ever felt like there was something left unsaid in your life, this story is yours. So do this. Tap the like button if you believe some truths deserve to be told. Leave a comment if you've ever held back something you wish you could say. And stay, because what happens next will shake you in ways you don't expect. This is not just a letter. This is the moment everything changed. And it all began when I opened it. She handed me the letter with a trembling hand, eyes filled with something I couldn't quite name. Maybe fear, maybe guilt, maybe both. Her voice was barely more than a whisper, cracked and hesitant. "You must never read this," she said. "Burn it. Don't ask questions. Just burn it and forget it ever existed." I should have walked away. I should have done what she asked. But the weight of the envelope in my hand told a different story. It wasn't just paper. It felt alive, like it was breathing, pulsing, holding something inside that didn't want to die. She was my aunt, a woman who had raised me after my parents passed. Cold, strict, but in her own way, she had protected me. This time, though, it wasn't protection I saw in her eyes. It was panic. And when someone is desperate to bury a truth, it's because that truth has the power to destroy. That's when I knew whatever was in that letter was never meant to be hidden. The envelope was sealed with red wax. Not like a regular letter, it looked ceremonial, deliberate, old, like it had been passed down or hidden for years. My fingers hesitated over it. I could still hear her voice echoing in my head. Burn it. Forget it. But my curiosity had already won. The moment I stepped into my room and sat alone with that letter, something shifted, like a storm was about to begin. And I promise you, this wasn't just a family letter. This wasn't a forgotten apology or a sweet goodbye. This was something else entirely. A forbidden message, a confession, a map to something buried long ago. There are letters people write and hope no one ever reads. This was one of them. But still, I opened it. The first few words stopped my heart. I felt cold all over. Because the handwriting wasn't hers. It wasn't my aunt's. It wasn't anyone I recognized. And yet, it knew things. Personal things. Things I had never said out loud. Secrets I never shared. It felt like whoever wrote this had been watching me. Or worse, had been a part of my story in a way I couldn't see until now. "If you're reading this," it began. Then she failed. Failed what? Failed to hide this? Failed to protect me? Failed to cover up something I was never supposed to uncover? I could barely breathe. I kept reading. I had to. Each line pulled me deeper. Each sentence cracked open a door I never knew existed inside me. And somewhere between those lines I realized, this letter didn't just hold someone else's truth. It held mine too. This wasn't just about my family. It wasn't just about the past. It was about who I really was, about the silence I had been living in, about the truth I had felt, but never had words for. The kind of truth that doesn't shout. It whispers, until you finally listen. And right now, I need you to listen too. Because what I found in that letter, it started unraveling everything. Everything I thought I knew about where I came from, who I could trust, and what had been kept from me all these years. And it's only just beginning. If you're curious what happened next, comment. I want to see. Because I'm about to read you something that was never meant to survive the fire. Something that was meant to be forgotten, erased, silenced. But instead, I'm bringing it into the light. The first line of the letter was simple, almost too simple. It said, "If you're holding this," she failed to burn it. "And now, it's too late to go back." My hands started to shake. I wasn't ready. I thought I was just reading some forgotten piece of family history, maybe a confession about an affair or a lost inheritance. But this was something else. This was a warning. A coded message wrapped in plain words that only made sense the more you feared what was coming. The room felt colder, even though the window was shut. I swear I could feel the ink bleeding through my fingertips. My palms were sweating, my throat dry. There was this pounding in my ears, like my body knew before my mind did, that I had just stepped into something I couldn't step out of. That's when I realized this wasn't just about a secret. It was a door, and I had just opened it. The letter went on, but I won't share every word with you. Not yet. Not because I want to protect anyone, but because I need you to feel it like I did. Slowly. Unfolding, line by line, pulling you deeper into something that isn't fiction, isn't just a story. This is a truth uncovered, a truth that was never supposed to breathe again. What I can tell you is this. The writer spoke of someone I never knew existed. A man, a name I'd never heard before in our family. But he was connected to everything. To my parents, to the silence around how they died, to the whispers my aunt would hush when I walked into the room. It was like this man was a ghost sewn into the fabric of my life, hiding behind smiles and photo frames, only now stepping into the light. And somehow, he knew me. Or at least, he knew who I was supposed to become before it all changed. Then came the moment I can't forget. The line that shifted everything. She couldn't keep the promise. And now they'll come for you too. I stopped reading. My eyes refused to move. My breath caught in my chest. This wasn't just about my past anymore. This was about now. About something still alive. Something watching. Something waiting. That's when the lights flickered. No joke. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe it was just the fear playing games in my mind. But in that moment, I felt something in the room with me. Not visible, not loud, but present. Like the truth in that letter had a weight, a force that followed its words wherever they were read. And here's the craziest part. Tucked inside the fold of the letter was something else. A photo. Old, faded. And in that photo, someone standing just behind my father. A figure blurred, almost like they were never meant to be captured. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I just knew, that's the man the letter was talking about. When I read that line, I realized this was only the beginning, that I hadn't just uncovered a shocking reveal. I had stepped into something much darker. Something layered, hidden, buried by design. A secret family letter with too many fingerprints. A story with too many missing pages. Don't skip. If you think it's just drama, wait until part 3. What comes next? I still have no words for. After seeing the photo, I sat in complete silence, still holding the letter like it might catch fire in my hands. My thoughts raced, but my body wouldn't move. I kept staring at that blurred figure behind my father, a shadow with no face. But somehow, it felt familiar, like I had seen him before. Not in a dream, not in a memory, but in the corners of every moment I couldn't explain. Every question that never had an answer. And then the phone rang. No caller ID, just unknown. It was past midnight. I let it ring once, twice, but something in me said, pick up. When I did, there was no voice, only breathing. Slow, measured, like whoever it was wanted me to know they were there, but didn't want to speak. And then the call ended. No message, No number. Just silence. But I knew. Somehow I knew that reading that letter had triggered something. I had opened a door, and now someone was watching from the other side. That same night I found an email in my inbox. No subject, no sender, just 5 words in the message body. Burn it now or suffer. That was it. No explanation, no signature. But my chest tightened with a pressure I can't even describe. This wasn't just family drama. This was danger. This was a line crossed. The next day my aunt was gone, packed a suitcase, left a note, disappeared. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't explain. The letter had unraveled something even she wasn't ready to face. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was living inside someone else's nightmare. I returned to the letter, hoping for clarity, hoping for a name. And that's when I found it. Tucked into the final paragraph, hidden in the way only someone desperate would hide it, was a signature. Not a full name, just a single initial, followed by a family surname I had only ever heard in whispers, and always followed by silence. A name that was supposed to have been erased, the kind you don't speak unless you want someone to start digging. I felt like I had just uncovered a secret identity, a piece of my bloodline wrapped in danger. Someone who wasn't supposed to exist, but had left behind a map of breadcrumbs for me to follow. And I followed them. From that moment, strange things began happening. My messages disappeared from my phone. My social media accounts logged out on their own. I started getting letters in my mailbox. Blank envelopes, no return address. Every time I opened one, there was only a single word written inside. Stop. But I couldn't. I wouldn't. Because this letter wasn't just about the past. It was a living thing, still moving through people, still being silenced, still trying to survive. And the more I read it, the more I realized that I had inherited a battle I never asked for, but one I couldn't ignore anymore. The signature wasn't just a name. It was a trigger, a reminder that danger doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it has your last name. Write, "I'm shocked if this twist got you. I want to see how many feel the same." Because what I discovered next didn't just change everything, it shattered it. And I'm not sure I'll ever be the same again. The final paragraph of the letter was different. It wasn't written with fear. It wasn't a plea. It was a confession. Clear, direct, and unshakably certain. The ink was darker, like it had been pressed harder into the paper, as if the writer needed these final words to last beyond fire, beyond denial, beyond time. You were never supposed to be told this, but I couldn't die with it inside me. The truth is, your life was rewritten, and the person you called your father, he wasn't the one who gave you your name. He was the one who took it. Everything stopped. The air, the sound, even my thoughts. I had read that sentence over and over, hoping I'd misunderstood, that somehow the words didn't mean what they clearly did. But there it was. Not just a shocking reveal, but a fracture in my entire identity. My father, the man whose face is still framed in my hallway, whose name I carry, wasn't who I thought he was. He wasn't the protector. He was the manipulator, the one who kept the truth from me, the one who tried to burn it away. There was a photo paperclip to the back of the last page. I hadn't seen it before. It was old, almost destroyed by time, but I recognized the child in it. It was me, just a baby, but next to me, not my aunt, not my father, a woman, younger than I remembered, eyes just like mine, holding me with the kind of softness I never saw in any family photo growing up. And on the back, scribbled in faded ink, "You were always mine, even when they told me to forget." I don't think I'll ever recover from the silence that followed reading that, because it wasn't just about a name anymore. It was about erasure, a hidden identity, a life built on lies. And yet, beneath all the pain, I felt something else. Peace. Because the truth, no matter how brutal, sets us free. And maybe, just maybe, the person who wrote that letter knew that freedom only comes when secrets lose their power. I began to see everything differently. The questions that used to haunt me, they began to fade. The guilt I carried for not being enough, for not understanding why I always felt like I didn't belong, it finally made sense. The emotional transformation was unlike anything I've ever known. For the first time, I understood that healing doesn't always look like closure. Sometimes it looks like clarity, like the hand of God reaching into the wreckage of your life and saying, "Now you see." That letter didn't just change my story, it saved it. And maybe that's why you're still here, listening, because deep down, there's a part of you that knows Your own story might hold something you've never dared to uncover. Maybe there's a secret in your family, a truth locked away, a silence waiting to be broken. Or maybe you just need to know that it's okay to ask, that you don't have to be afraid of the answers. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's the courage to face it. And I believe, fully, that God doesn't just expose what was hidden. He reveals it when you're finally ready to be healed by it. The truth is a door, and this letter was the key. But just when I thought the letter had said everything, I noticed something etched faintly along the margin, almost invisible. 4 digits, a date, 10/21. No year, no name, just that. And suddenly, everything I thought I had figured out unraveled again. Because that date, it doesn't belong in the past. It's not a memory, it's a warning. I don't know what's going to happen on 10/21, but something tells me this letter was just the beginning. If this shook you, comment, "I want the next part." And subscribe now, because in the next video, I will reveal what he did before disappearing. You don't want to miss it. And if you haven't yet, watch my previous story, the one titled, "You Would Never Believe Who Wrote This Letter." It connects to everything. The link is right here in the description and in the cards. Now go comment, go subscribe, go watch, because this is far from over.